Hello. In this video, we're going to integrate the code plugin that Glazed4444 posted with the Orbital Mechanics Blueprint plugin, and that will give us a way to simulate real-life Newtonian gravity, so gravity that varies based on distances away from an object. So here's an example of what we'll make. We'll have two spheres, each with a gravity source, and we'll be able to jump from one sphere to the other. So that's it. Let's get started. So the first step, and this is going to be the hardest step, is the DynamicGravity plugin that Glazed4444 posted on GitHub requires you to build your own engine out of source. So you'll need to look at the changes Glazed developed in GitHub and integrate it into your own source build. And once you do that, build the engine, and that will be the start from what we'll develop to with the Orbital Mechanics plugin. And so I'm not an expert in GitHub or anything like that, so I will leave others to do that. But that will be the first step to integrate. So after you've built and compiled your engine from code with Glazed's changes, we're going to create a new project with the third-person blueprint example to get started. Alright, so now our third-person template project is loaded. The first thing we'll do is just add our example spheres. The orbit movement project comes with an example sphere. It's really just a sphere, so it doesn't matter where you get it from. So we'll drag one out and make it bigger. We'll scale it by 10. It's good enough. And we'll also hold down Alt and drag to make another one. And we'll put this one, we'll offset it a little bit. There we go. All right, the next thing we need to do is attach a gravity mass actor and assign the owner of the gravity mass actor to each of these spheres, and that's what's going to drive the gravity effect. So under the orbit movement component, we'll drag out a BP gravity mass actor here. There we go. And we need to set the owner actor here to the sphere. So we can use the pick actor from scene method, click on the sphere, and that's it. And now we just need to do the same thing for our other sphere. So we'll drag it out, pick actor from scene, and click on that sphere. All right, so now we've assigned gravity to each of these spheres. All right, the next thing we need to do is rig up our character to use the gravity system that we're going to develop. So first, let's click on the character, search gravity in the properties, and you'll see the DynamicGravity code plugin has added this physics interaction custom gravity toggle. So we'll toggle this to be on so it uses the value. And it looks like it's defaulted to negative 980 in the z-axis. So that's simulating Earth gravity directly downwards. What we need to do is rig up a quick blueprint to have it use the orbit movement gravity instead. So let's open up the character blueprint. It's under third-person blueprints, third-person character. And we are going to override the tick method. So under functions, override tick. This adds the tick events. First, we need to assign an orbit movement component. So under add components, we'll go to orbit movements. And now we can click orbit movement, and we're just going to change some of its defaults so it doesn't start with any velocity. So under start velocity, we'll change this to 0 and turn off start circularized. So now we'll start with no velocity. Okay, so let's drag out a reference to our orbit movement component and also a reference to the character movement component. So we're going to use the character movement component since that is where the functionality for the dynamic gravity is built off of. So let's drag something out from character movement and search for gravity, and it looks like it's called set custom gravity. So yes, this is setting the direction of gravity. So let's connect those pins, and now we need to give it the value for what gravity should be, and for that we'll use the orbit movement component. So we'll drag a pin off there. We're going to get the orbit. So the orbit is a object where all the orbit data is contained, like gravity or any orbital parameters or things like that. We'll drag a pin off orbit and say get gravity acceleration. So gravity acceleration is going to be the calculated gravity from the orbit movement component. And we will just rig that up to the custom gravity node, and that should, we have to do one more thing. We'll hit compile and save. We're going to make a brief modification to the orbit movement components. So let's open that up. Navigate to the BP orbit movement component blueprint, and let's open up the function for update Kepler position. So this is the function where the orbit movement component will update the actor's position based on gravity. Since we're having the engine do that now, we're just telling the engine a different gravity vector to use. Let's break the pin before I should be opening update kinematic position, not Kepler position, and we're using kinematic methods for this. So let's quickly go through this. Update gravity. So this is the function that's going to update the gravity variable. This is going to update the velocity based on gravity and delta time. We can leave that in. It's not going to hurt anything. So here, calculate new position. So if we weren't using the dynamic gravity plugin, the orbit movement would try to do it all itself. But we don't need, in this case, we're using the dynamic gravity plugin, so we don't need to have it do anything past here, really. We just need the orbit movement component to update gravity, and the engine will take care of moving the actual actor and things like that. Let's hit compile. Looks good, save, and let's give it a shot. So we'll hit play, and all right, it's looking good. Now let's try to jump to the other. We can't walk past halfway point. That's probably because something is tied to z-axis in the controls. So let's navigate back to the third-person blueprint. Open this guy up, and yes. So under the move forward and move right input axis, it's zeroing out anything not on the z-axis. So we can just drag this get control rotation directly over here and drag this directly over here, so we're bypassing this zeroing out pitch and roll functionality, and should give us our intended movement. And there we go. So we can walk along this sphere, and let's try to jump to this other sphere. And it looks like we're not jumping strong enough. So we could either make our character jump with more power, or let's just turn down gravity a bit on this sphere. So we'll click this gravity mass actor, and we'll get rid of one of the zeros on the standard gravitational parameter. Alright, and so now we still walk around our sphere, and we're going to jump to this other sphere with much more gravity, and there we go. Looks like it's working as intended. So that's it. Let me know if anybody has any questions, and thanks to Glaze4444 and the other people who've worked on this. It's a cool plugin. Thanks. Bye.